that. Just in case you joined us, we had just swapped from talking about neglected tropical diseases before we crossed over to Parliament. And just as mentioned, I have Dr. Joyce Onsongo, who is the technical advisor for NTDs, the World Health Organization Kenya, and we have Jane Jomo, project manager at WASH Alliance Kenya, also representing this critical link between water, sanitation, hygiene. This is what we're talking about because, again, neglected tropical diseases, NTDs, are not only preventable, they're also treatable. All right. The youth, we were talking about, off mic, we were talking about how the youth can also play a key role in ensuring that we are done away with NTDs. The reason being, they can also spearhead cleanup exercises. They can also, they are very good and tech savvy. They can also spread the news in regards to this and create awareness as well.
Let me start from why. Why should they be interested? So why should the youth care? Because they may think this is not their business.
Yeah.
But we all know that the largest population that we have in our country now lies within the age of the youth, people we refer to as Gen Zs, and we all see the energies that they have. And it's actually a group that cannot be ignored. So youth should care because NTDs affect the education, and if we said earlier that if you have these NTDs, then you're not able to attend education. So for them, since they're that education bracket, then it should hit them, and they should give an ear and think about it. It also affects the productivity and future opportunities. And we know they are advancing towards becoming citizens. And if these future opportunities then are hampered, then it will affect them.
Yeah.
And then they're also change agents, powerful agents of change.
Yeah.
So it is their responsibility as citizens of the country to play their part in making health and people's lives better. So that is why they should care. And then how do they contribute? By promotion of this hygiene, and they also have information that they can share that has to be accurate. So they are an agent that can share information, and we know that they have platforms that are very vibrant. The social media, online platforms that we know are very key transmission agents of knowledge and information. And then, like you mentioned, they have days that they allocate. For example, for cleanup campaigns, they organize themselves, and these become very effective ways of improving and contributing to that change. And then they can also advocate for accountability, because we have said it is key that we have budgets allocated for this NTD elimination. And the counties have made efforts, especially in the deep counties, to have domestic resource mobilization. And one of the key resources there is the youth. So they have to be on board. And now, how can they help turn policy into action? Because we may keep talking about policies, and this should happen and that should happen, but we need action, because we are not far from 2030.
Yeah.
It's about 3 years. So we need action, and the youth can help bridge the gap between the decision makers, who are mostly the money holders, and the communities, and ensure that these policies are understood even at the grassroots. Because we may have the layer at the county, the elites, and those who have gone to school that understand these policies. But then the youth can come in to bridge that gap and remove that lack of knowledge between in the communities, so that they understand what the policies, simplify the policies, so that the communities understand them and they're able to ask questions. The issue of behavior change, it is something that the youth has the ability to influence, because they're able to move from area to area. They're able to speak and be listened to. And with time, people are able to embrace these messages that are being passed to them and thus behavior change is able to be accomplished. So the youth are critical because they have the energy, they have the time, and once they have the zeal. And I wanted to mention some groups that have organized themselves, especially starting with the NTD week that we are going to commemorate on Friday. We have a group of youth that are very key, that are pushing this agenda in creating awareness, and we have seen a lot of results simply from them using the platforms that they have, reaching out to fellow youth, and being able to influence. In the counties that we work in, we have what we call the youth parliaments. So these are groups that have organized themselves, just like a normal parliament, where we have the speaker, all these members that ask questions, and they debate within themselves and create innovative ways of being able to contribute to NTD elimination. Then we have the WASH champions. So these are youth that bring themselves together, and we use them to pass this information to the communities, to the schools, so that they organize themselves, have ways that they know the school children will listen to them, and they are able to influence latrine coverage and also hand washing facilities in their homes. And finally, the change agents. So that these are basically people who've been trained on what messages to pass, so that we do not have risks of misinformation. You might go to a community member, and the information you get there, they will tell you very interesting things on how trachoma, bilharzia is passed. So to demystify these NTDs, then we use people who will be going there, because they live within them. Then they have the time to speak to them in churches, in schools, during the barazas, weddings and funerals, any places that people assemble. Then they use these existing forms of gatherings to pass this information. So youth, for me, are key in elimination of NTDs.
Doc, you want to touch on the youth?
Yes, I think she's done very well about the youth, but I can also say that the youth are change agents. They have what they call peer influence. And we have just recently seen the youth who's doing the Magical Kenya. And so I believe it's a big opportunity that they can contribute and push the agenda for especially awareness and participation for the youth. And in NTD, by the way, a lot of the NTD victims are the youth. These are the young people in school. So actually they have a stake to play a role in that. And I want to appreciate what she said.
Yes, and another thing that we started out with is there's a lot of stigma and a lack of knowledge for everything, because you're looking at a family, and we have covered these cases on television and also on radio and our digital platforms, where you find that families have been shunned because of either one of these NTDs. I'm talking about, you find a family that has been ravaged by jiggers or bilharzia, taken out of context, like it's a curse, or maybe they did something that they shouldn't have. How can we change this mentality? And you bear me witness, and especially Dr. Joyce, is that this is something that is dotted around Africa. Yeah.
Stigma, you're right, Ben. Stigma is one of the actually indicators that that come out of, or output that comes out of the disability that entities cause. For example, we gave an example of lymphatic filariasis, but there's also a disease called onchocerciasis, which is not in this really country, but people get blind. But even there's also blind in trachoma. What happens when somebody loses their eyesight? How is it that person, because of preventable condition like chlamydia, which is in trachoma, they will not be able to do their roles, and people kind of put them beside. We have seen a lot of these people actually kind of put aside, isolated, shunned. But what we see here is the way to remove this is actually to acknowledge that most people actually, like I was one time in the coast, and there's this thing we call mushima, It's the hydrocele, the swelling of the groin for the men, and they believe, this is witchcraft. This has always been there in this community, and it can't go away. It is educating with the right knowledge. If people don't have the knowledge, they will believe what this is they have believed throughout. So we have a big role to bring the knowledge, but also to know that actually it can be it doesn't have to continue like this. We can reduce. For example, lymphatic filariasis the transmission has been totally been removed, and their children will no longer suffer this condition in the future. Yeah. So this is hope. So knowledge, and also giving them the right interpretation of what's happening. So when people don't have knowledge, they will bring their own knowledge, and that is the superstition. So let us be the responsibility of bringing the right knowledge and then the solution for this stigma. The solution is to remove to give the knowledge and also remove this misconception of the knowledge.
And Jen, you have worked with a number of communities, especially in the northeastern part of Kenya. Speaking from what Doc has mentioned, which are some of the misconceptions that come with these entities?
Some of the misconceptions are that, for example, jiggers, I'll talk about from the Western region, is that people have very deep beliefs that jiggers do not just invade, while we know it's mostly contributed by the environment that we find ourselves, the vulnerable groups find themselves in. Some of the beliefs are that this is a curse that has been passed down from generations, because you find these vulnerable, you'll go to a homestead and people have been invested where the arms, they cannot work because the jiggers are in the arms, even in the private parts. So it becomes, it is really something that's eye-catching, and people will think that maybe interacting with these people will pass that misfortune on to you. And believes that, for example, in the use of latrines, that in-laws cannot share latrines. And you find if a lady has been married in that homestead, then she has to wake up very early to go and use the open fields before the rest of the people wake up. So this is just a way of contributing to the STH transmission, that is the intestinal worms. So such beliefs, if they're not handled and people understand that actually the transmission is not because of maybe the sharing of the latrine as such, but because of not using the latrine in the first place. So these are the misconceptions and things that may be very deep in some communities, and actually making them change may take time, and that's why social behavior change communication then has to be repeated over. You don't tire about speaking about the same thing over and over, and also bring people who have gone through such experiences to give testimonies of how their lives have changed. Because if I have gone through something and I speak about it, then people see that actually it is not a curse, it is not something that is beyond me. It is something that I have gone through and I came out of it, and it's something that everybody else can do. Use of latrine is something, it's not cultural, it is a behavior that everybody needs to embrace. Use the toilet properly. Initially, when we started the campaigns in these arid areas and marginalized areas, we went and said, just a toilet, bora choo. So now we are moving from just a toilet to an improved toilet. So we say choo bora. So with time, people embrace, and then from basic sanitation or latrine to an improved sanitation where it is not just about the hole, the squat hole, and a basic superstructure. It is a sanitation facility that is ideal and suitable by the health regulations and standards. So with time and patience and repetition of the same thing, and maybe using innovative ways to communicate, then with time they come to understand that this is something they can do themselves. Yes.
Yeah, I just wanted to add something it's very important, what my colleague has said about use of change agents. Change agents are very key. In fact, an example, I just want to quick one in Kilifi. I talked about this swelling caused by lymphatic filariasis or hydrosis, matende, but they go na mshipa. Kiswahili wanasema mshipa wa kushuka na mshipa wa mapumbu. That means it is the swelling of the whole groin of the man swells like a big kibuyu. And the thing is, yes, I didn't have pictures. I think I would have shown you in the next time. They believe this is witchcraft. Scared. And they hide. But this man came out and went for surgery. You know, it is resolved through surgery. So when the man was operated and the Ministry of Health is giving these services, they came, no. They call it hydrocelectomy. That's what they call it. You remove the water is drained, and they have a special procedure. The man went back. The Mzee went back to normal. And he said, oh, please come and see. It's not what we think. I am well. He has become the ambassador. Yes. And most of those people with the Mapum have gone for surgery now. So just the change agents is a key area. Yes.
Well, that has scared me, that the NTDs, the NTDs are also targeting private parts. But there's something that I've noted, and you have a number of programs, many programs.
Yeah.
You're a global powerhouse when it comes to health. But even you, I'm quite sure you as World Health Organization, you face challenges trying to implement some of these projects, especially trying to eradicate NTDs in Kenya. Which are some of these?
Yes, one of the key things Ben you mentioned is the main of health is a big area. Of course, there's a global health agenda, but for NTD, even just in the area of neglected tropical diseases, I say there are 21. There's no one disease. So how are you going to implement? For Kenya, we are about 10, which are priority, because not all of them are here. Yeah. But you still have to implement. Some you have to fast track, others are for control, others are slow. So the major word here, which is not a new word, and most people actually sometimes share from it, the word is combine, integrate, work together. One of the things which I know most of the other maybe sectors or even the health, they fear is, or they don't like, is integration. Integration means it's not like you're going to lose visibility. You are actually saying some things can be integrated, Ben, but not all, but many can be. What can we deliver together? Maybe we should just say, let us deliver interventions together as much as where we can. And there are many that can be delivered together. Training can be delivered together. Delivery of interventions can be delivered together. If you are going to the community to do a community activity, you can do that together. You don't have to go this week for this, the other week for that. So I think what we are trying to bring together now as WHO and even as for governments, sectors, what can you combine for community interventions? And that combination, right now, there are no resources. So the poorer you get, the wiser you get by saying, let's join together for delivery. So this is what we are pushing now. And what's going to be sustainable is how national, county governments, even communities, and in partners, bringing your resources together to deliver several items. Even 5 items can be delivered as one, as interventions. Not necessarily, because in the past when there was resources, everybody can run and say, I am doing agriculture, I am doing education, I'm doing health. But we can bring together these deliverables at the community. It's the same person you are reaching at the community level. Yeah. So the word is, the buzzword is, let us deliver together for efficiency. It's called integration. But I might also need to say that it may not be 100%. There are some things for eradication that need to run sometimes by themselves. So when we are at the end of the mile, when you need to push the last mile, sometimes you need to go alone. Yeah. Because when you are waiting for everybody else, you may delay. So there are some few interventions that, for example, polio is a disease which is not neglected, but it's for eradication. We have also some diseases in NTD, which is, for example, onchocerciasis, which is actually for elimination. Some of the interventions, even for LF, have to go sometimes on their own, like surveillance, so that you can monitor and see the end has been attained. So we have to be very careful to see what can we deliver together and what can just run alone and complete. Thank you. Maybe
from your angle, you have faced a number of challenges, especially in the northeast in Kenya. And I'm saying this because some of the cultures there, there are some things that they still believe in, which could be a hindrance to the fight against NTDs. Have you witnessed this?
Of course, the reason these areas are marginalized could be maybe the climatic conditions, but there are also cultures that may still be very deep-rooted in them. So even when we started the campaigns there might be things that they do not want to listen to a woman speaking to them. But in most cases you find, or in some cases you may find, the person with the knowledge could be the women in the community and the youth, for example. So there might be communities that will not want to listen to that young girl telling them anything. So like we have said, with repeated emphasis and campaigns, then this becomes something that changes. And now we are happy because even some of the chief officers and CECs are women. So it's changing. And some of the public health officers that work in the communities, because most of the problems you find there are at that lower level, the community level, the wards and the villages and the sub-counties. But you find that PHOs are emerging, public health officers are emerging who are young women, and people listen to them. And when because the main problem was to stand before them, to tell them anything, because they will think, this is a girl we've seen grow up. So what does she know that we don't know? And she's coming to tell us about us using latrines. But we've always used these bushes, and we've been just fine. So, but with time, it's changing. So like I said, it's patience and lobbying and repetition of the same thing, and maybe using creative ways of communicating to them. So this is changing. I wanted to give an example of the Western Kenya, where we are having the NTD program. And some of the biggest problem we have had is, like I said, the use of latrines, the sharing of the latrines, and also ceremonies that are held. We know that there are these circumcision ceremonies. Events like funerals and weddings, where there's a lot of, for example, in the circumcision, using the same knife to circumcise boys. So these are things that I think need a lot of time to change. When you go to ceremonies like burials and weddings, people, hand washing there may not be, in fact, when you go to these ceremonies, there is no facility for hand washing. And the latrine may not be able to provide services to these large crowds. So people will use the bushes that are there. So like these cultures are something that are so deep-rooted, but with time and with this civilization and exposure, then it's changing and it's getting better. And I think we are at a point where now we can say that we are not where we would want to be, but we have made significant improvements and mileages that will work towards elimination of the entities.
Let's look at technology, because I'm quite sure in your organization you are leveraging on technology to assist you in this fight. I'll begin with you, Doc, because I'm trying to look at technology, and I'm also looking at even mapping the regions that you know are worst hit. You're also looking at tabulating how the treatment and the numbers that we have. How far have you gone, and where are we as a country?
Good, thank you. I didn't know you got to a very interesting point there, Ben. The matters of technology, but maybe just allow me to say one more. One of the challenges, before I go there, we meet is the north part of Kenya is very difficult for logistics. So it's difficult to deliver interventions because of logistics. So it's another, because you know the end of the road. But as you improve, of course, then you can be able to deliver. Let me talk about technology. Technology is very key in the delivery of NTD interventions, just in health. One of the major things we need is data, figures. How you have delivered like 6 million or 10 million tablets have been delivered to communities. Because that's what we do in mass drug administration. You have to count every tablet. Did it reach which child? Did they? All that has to be accounted for, accountability to the partner and to WHO. How do we get that data? Easy. Usually they have been using books, registers, every household. You know, these community volunteers, they are so hardworking. They go and collect in books and then put them together. Then before you get the data, it has taken a long time. But I want to say that there has been a breakthrough in this area by the use of electronic data transfer. It's called digitalization, which the ministry has actually embraced. These days, you go with a phone, you have got your gadget, and you have your data here. Every village is put in the phone, and how many tablets are there. And within a click of a button, these systems have improved data reporting, including mapping. So we have seen a very, very robust technology use in the delivery of the interventions for NTD, and even in general in health. Digitalization of data is a major one, including mapping. And this is something that the country, of course, has initiated about the digital.
You're hoping to be seeing drones that maybe transporting
drones.
some...
Yes, there are also drones there, but I don't know.
It's an
they are
ambition.
used, drones are being used in health. I don't know if they use them in NTD, but they are used to deliver vaccines, by the way, now. But I think it's an area which we can also use to deliver them medicines, I believe, in the coming days, where they are very remote areas and you can't reach them. Although, of course, that depends on the weight, because they are very light. Yes.
How are you using technology or leveraging on it?
Yes, I wanted to mention that initially, when we were, for example, getting information from the grassroots, people had to fill in the physical forms, like saying how many households they've visited and what has been given out, how many children have been dewormed, etc. But now we are moving to an area where the public health officers have their own gadgets, which are digital, and they have platforms, for example, use of Kobo. So they are uploaded there, and they have templates that they fill, which transmit to the sub-county level and later to the county level. And this not only saves on time, but then it also ensures accuracy of the data. And this is something that is being rolled out by most implementation partners, but also the county themselves. So they do not have to belabor having to sit with a lot of paperwork to do the totals and to calculate and all that. It is something that at a click of a button, the summation is done, and report writing and accountability becomes much easier. So, and with time, a lot of young people are coming on board to work as public health officers, which makes the work easier. Initially, the people who are there earlier, who are older, may not have been able to use the gadgets. But now this has become simplified. And even when we go in as Wash Alliance Kenya, then we do not have to reinvent the wheel. We just look at a partner who has a platform that we can also bring a small component of our work in. And this information comes as one component, and when it goes to the sub-county and the county level, then totaling and report writing becomes much, much easier. So, and also I wanted to add that the private sector also comes in to support with that, because we are lobbying so as much as possible for them to support us in sanitation marketing and businesses that can be created around water, sanitation, and hygiene, so that we stop doing the same thing. You know, they come in with innovation. I wanted to mention, for example, people who are promoting innovative ways of using sanitations, like we have the separation of the feces from the urine, and these feces are used as fertilizer after treatment, of course, and then the urine is used for other purposes. So this private sector have also money that we lobby as implementation partners for them to support us. Safaricom, Coca-Cola. So initially we never thought of these ways of working with them. But now with the creativity and the innovation that's coming in, we look at everybody as someone that we can partner with through their CSR, community social responsibility. They allocate some amount of money that can be used for these simple interventions in the community. Yes.
Doc, how are we doing as counties? Because I'm quite sure more or less there are some countries which are worst hit, just like some of the counties in the northern part of Kenya. And some are doing very well despite being quite hit. What is it different that they are doing that we can be sure by 2030?
Or at the county level? Or
yes, in counties.
Or why are we different? I believe, okay, first of all, the difference in the counties depends on the endemicity. I mean, what affects them. It's not the same. Some areas, you know, there are some countries that have got 5 NTDs, others just have 2. So it's different. Others have more affected because these diseases depend on the conditions, the environment, the vectors. You know, there are many factors that contribute. But there are some counties, like for example, the coastal region has really a lot of, like, more than 5 diseases at the same time. So they will take quite a while to get it. But others have less. So that's one of the things. But the other thing is how much the counties are sensitized to take action. We see there's a difference. The receptivity. So there need to be a lot of advocacy to the counties. That is the work of the national is to go and say, this, as I said earlier, the profile. Each county profile should be out and say, you have 3 diseases. Which one are you eliminating this year? You have 5. You have only 2. Why are you not eliminating? So, knowledge and prioritization. Yes.
All right. Allow me just to hold the thought. Allow me to just cross over to Kisumu, where a section of professionals have thrown their weight behind former ICT Cabinet Secretary Eliud Owalo. The team fashioning itself as Friends of Owalo say that the former CS is best placed to address the historical challenges in the region. Let's listen in.
Which he has aptly framed as the third liberation, following the first liberation from colonial rule and social and second liberation that expanded political freedoms and pluralism. The third liberation, as he has articulated, is the economic emancipation of Kenyans from poverty, exclusion, and marginalization. This is a national mission, a noble and a legitimate cause that he has offered to lead from the front as the President and the Chief Executive of the Republic of Kenya. Today, as we stand here as professionals, businessmen, farmers, parents, and key stakeholders from Kisumu County to announce the formation of Friends of Eliud Owalo. You may as well call it a launch of Eliud Owalo Kisumu chapter, to declare our unequivocal support for the third liberation. Our county needs the economic liberation, as has been espoused in Eliud Owalo's various economic policy pronouncement. Of course, he has been talking about them once in a while. Even today, he was having a program at the TV, Nation TV. We are firmly united behind this call for economic transformation and are ready to play our role as agents of change. We do so because this agenda presents a clear, credible, problem solution fit to the lived realities of Kisumu County and the wider Lake region. I will go now word by word. Why do Friends of Eliud Owalo Kisumu chapter feel strongly that Kisumu needs economic liberation? The reason is simple. Kisumu County is a wealthy county, but with immense poverty, and the majority appear to be trapped in a circle of systematic poverty that has been normalized by the economic policies currently prevalent. This presents one of the greatest contradictions of our time. Kisumu is rich in assets, yet too many of its people are trapped in persistent poverty. That is a contradiction. Wealth alongside deprivation is not accidental, therefore. It is the outcome of an economic model.
For President. Let's go back. Very well. That has been a section of professionals professional youths from Kisumu throwing their weight behind former ICT Cabinet Secretary Eliud Owalo, saying that he is the best place to address historical challenges in the country. We'll be getting more from our Kisumu team of the likes of Wycliffe Okech and Achola Simon. But we're on the tail end of this conversation. Many thanks indeed. If you just joined us, we are looking at neglected tropical diseases. And of course, I have two professionals who have worked side by side and hand in hand to ensure that we are done with neglected tropical diseases by the year 2030. That's where we have put our sights on, and that is Dr. Joyce Onsongo, who is the technical advisor for NTDs, that's the neglected tropical diseases, at World Health Organization Kenya. And just next to her, we have Jane Jomo, who is the project manager at WASH Alliance Kenya. We're also representing the critical link between water, sanitation, and also hygiene. We're on the tail end of this. What Kenyans, I will give you a minute each for your closing statements. What should Kenyans know about neglected tropical diseases, and what more should be done, Jane?
I think the catchy thing is that NTD is not something mystical. These are things that are first and foremost preventable, using very basic things that each one of us can do. Mm-hmm. And they are also treatable if addressed at the right time. Mm-hmm. And with evidence that we may have, a lot of research has been carried out. So we have figures that we can go by so that we're able to plan adequately and also allocate resources and also target areas that are prone to these entities, so that it's not a blanket coverage of even areas that are not prone to these. So, and with the policies that need to be actioned, it's not enough to have them on shelves and documents, so they need to be actioned, and also very, very important and significant community action and involvement. We are able to eliminate these entities. And also to mention that everyone has a part to play. It is not a one-man show. Everybody has a part to play, however small, and these coordinated efforts are able to play towards the elimination of these entities.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Doc?
I cannot what Jane said, that is true. The punchword here is that it is possible to end. I use the word end because that is where the roadmap is leading. Mm-hmm. Some of these neglected tropical diseases from our community. Mm-hmm. There is hope because we have solutions. We have the strategy, the focus, and we have the tools. Mm-hmm. We have been given the tools to end. And we don't need our communities anymore to continue suffering, especially the new generations. The previous generations could have faced it, but why should our children and grandchildren suffer when we have the solutions on our hands? Let us unite at all levels. Don't be left behind. Let us act. We can eliminate this NTD from the country and even the world. Thank you.
Thank you so much. That has been Dr. Joyce Osongo, who is a technical advisor for NTDs, that is neglected tropical diseases, at World Health Organization Kenya, providing policy, technical guidance, and also global oversight on the disease elimination. Remember, that's where we are. That's where the key word, elimination, totally. And just next to her, Jane Jomo, project manager at WASH Alliance Kenya, represented the critical link between water, sanitation, hygiene, and disease prevention at community level. I'm quite sure you've seen some sticker of WASH in one place or another, and especially in the informal settlements and in the northern part of this country. We're asking the tough questions in regards to these tropical diseases. What progress has Kenya made? Where are we failing? Where have we managed to change? And urgently, if we are to eliminate NTDs once and for all. Remember, keyword, preventable and curable. Many thanks for joining us. My name is Ben Troy Njue. And Susan, earlier on we had Lucy Mwaura. And thank you for our sign language interpretation.